Hi everyone, we can get started. Today, Margaret Lumos is presenting Non-Epic Enterprise in the PMG solution line. It's all yours, Margaret. Margaret, if you're on mute, we cannot hear you, just so you know.
Okay, Sherry, how's that? Is that better?
Perfect.
So, in conclusion, no. All right, so is the volume okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Great. Okay, I'll go ahead and get started then. So welcome, everyone. I appreciate your time on a Friday afternoon. I see that we have a few extra folks continuing to join us here, but I'm going to go ahead and get started because I have two solution lines that I want to talk to you about today. So as you can see, I have about 57 slides. I promise this will not be death by PowerPoint. Sherry is going to go ahead and get these posted. You'll have my contact information, and I'm more than happy to go through this again one-on-one or some smaller groups. But we felt it was the right thing to go ahead and at least get the information out there today. And then as we move forward, like I said, I can slow down a little bit and go through things in more detail, and certainly go through things as we're specifically talking about opportunities. So I am the Solution Line Director for both the Project Management Group, and we now call it the PMG. Previously it had been called the PMO, or the Project Management Office. So we made some decisions around that, and we've decided to call it the Project Management Group. And as of a couple of weeks ago, there were two of us actually running the Solution Line, myself and Erin Hutchinson. Erin is, as of last week, moving forward, she is going to be focusing full-time on Epic, being the lead on the Epic sales pursuit. So the entire PMG will now fall underneath my domain, and that was another reason why we wanted to go ahead and talk about both of the solution lines today, so that you guys have the latest information and the most current information. So as you can see, I've met several of you before. Those of you that I've not met, certainly appreciate the virtual introduction here and hope to get a chance to work with you in the very near future. I have 19 years experience in healthcare information services. I live in Atlanta, and so I work here north of Atlanta out of my home. I do hold the CP-HIMSS certification, and I know some of you hold that certification as well. I have worked at clients such as Cedars. I was the Senior Program Director at Community Health Systems, 134 hospitals. Did a lot of work with Catholic Health East, and I know we've got some great resources up there now as well. So I was previously the Vice President of Technology and Implementation, as well as the Vice President of Client Services. And as I mentioned, for Catholic Health East, I specifically worked in what was called the Project Management Center of Excellence, and certainly have brought forward a lot of the good ideas there and good methodology and rigor. Certainly have tried to bring those forward to the PMG group here. So let's just briefly talk a little bit about the actual project management group. We have around 73 consultants right now. We bill a little bit over $1 million a month. You can see the various topics, if you will, vendors that we support. And on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see some of the accounts that we are at, and obviously we are there because of your efforts. So the project management group, very healthy right now. The practice is doing quite well, and again, certainly that is due to your efforts, and we certainly appreciate that very much. As you can see, our total book revenue for 2013, our plan is around $11 million. We do have some extensions in the work. We have about 1.9 in extensions, and just running the numbers here a little bit ago, it looks like that number is increasing a bit. And wanted to talk to you just quickly about our extension strategy. Historically, it's been about a 30-day extension strategy because there have been a little bit of a downturn in the number of opportunities, the price point. We all know that it's just getting very, very competitive. coupled with just the length that it's taking to actually get resources placed. So we're still trying to be very, very responsive. We try to give you a 24-hour turnaround and try to get you those resumes back just as quickly as we can. On the extension side, we are looking at around a 45-day process. So if you get an email or a phone call from myself or Paul Rockwell, we're working those extensions about 45 days out now because it's just taking a little bit longer to get them secured. But right now, we have things really moving in the right direction, and you can see we are planning to hopefully finish up the year around 15 million. So very positive news there. So let's move in a little bit and talk about some of the project management group services and just some key facts as you can see. In fact, 40% of all projects will fail. And not having a project management group or a project manager or a program manager correlated that has a very specific methodology can certainly have, and most certainly will have, a negative impact on projects. So we really focus on the triple constraint, right? The cost and resource constraint, the schedule and time, and then quality. So you can see when folks talk about those triple constraints, it's really resources, time, and quality. And our project management group is really focused on, A, managing to that triple constraint, or remediating any issues that might come from those constraints. So that's going to be one of the very first places to take a look as you're working with clients and existing customers, is really probing around, do they have project needs around simply resources, around time, around quality, and are they experiencing project impacts from one of those three constraints? And so that's always a good reminder around that. In terms of project management fundamentals, again, just a refresher, simply project management being the discipline of planning and organizing, again, motivating and controlling those resources. It is a temporary endeavor, so it's not an operational job. It's not meant to go on forever. Projects have very defined beginnings, middle, end. They have very specific deliverables, of course, and that's really the value add in terms of how they are measured. Project managers generally have the responsibility for the planning, execution, and the closing of the project, and they're the person that gets held accountable. And you can see there at the bottom of the paragraph, again, for managing that triple constraint. So those are the three pillars by which a project management really does the day in the life. Those are the three things that they are focused on predominantly, with the fourth being relationships. They do an awful lot of communication and an awful lot of management of relationships. So the value of a project manager, they are adding by either making things, I should have used a better word than stuff, but making stuff more efficient and effective, or reducing risk, right? So they are adding their value by making things more efficient and effective and reducing risk. And again, around communication and relationships tend to be the softer things that have to have a lot of attention paid to it. So let's talk a little bit then about the pitfalls of not having a project manager on any of the healthcare information technology projects. So without a project manager, you run the risk of having unclear objectives or maybe planning that doesn't accommodate everything. You certainly increase risk. You have no clear focus towards your milestones, perhaps poor communication, the unrealistic budget, or the overly optimistic timeline. And again, that stakeholder and executive expectations may not be managed as best they can be. So in terms of our service line, we have project and program management. That's really the foundation of what we do in the project management group. Our consultants have extensive clinical and financial healthcare knowledge and experience. We provide, again, that focus on the triple constraints. We come from a methodology and a construct of utilizing the PMI, or the Project Management Institute, and their methodology is what's known as PMBOK, or the Project Management Body of Knowledge. And for those of you that are familiar with that, you can certainly understand and appreciate when a customer wants a PMP or a a project management professional, that certified individual, that assures that they know the PMBOK, or that project management body of knowledge, and they have a comfort in that particular methodology. So again, industry best practices and years of experience, the credentialing that our consultants have, as well as an organization, we are what's called a registered education provider. And I'm going to talk in a few slides about why that's important and how that's a particular vertical for us within the project management group. As you can see, this is one slide here. We tried to keep it down to one page because I know that there's just an awful lot of service offerings from all of the solution lines. So we tried to keep this crisp and to one page. And so you can see on the left-hand side of the screen here, our staffing. That's our traditional project managers, one project manager, maybe multiple project managers, but it's very much the assistance from a dedicated perspective. You can see with the strategy, the visioning, the planning, and execution. Then we have, as we move to this next column to the right and to the far right, we have our other three solution offerings. We have our PMG Jumpstart, which allows a solution. So rather than just a dedicated project manager or a group of project managers, we have a solution around the Project Management Jumpstart that allows us to help an organization establish their own project management organization. Maybe they already have a PMO and they need some assistance maturing it, taking it to that next level, maybe redoing their methodology, maybe taking a look at some risk and quality issues that maybe there's projects that couple up into their portfolio or experiencing. So the Project Management Jumpstart allows us to really get into the executive advisor services and really help either start a PMO for an organization or mature an existing PMO. Maybe even help that PMO transition from compliance, which is really more of a quality function, over to the actual tactical execution. So we can talk a lot more about the PMO Jumpstart, or Project Management Group's Jumpstart service offerings. Just wanted to make sure that you're aware that that is a complete solution that we have available, and I'm happy to be on a call with you and walk through it further, get you the collateral that you might need, be on a phone call with prospects or existing clients. Just whatever you need, we can certainly make happen. An additional service then on our third column, you can see is project recovery. That's where a project has run into trouble on one of those three constraints. So they're severely over budget, or they simply do not have the resources, or they are constrained in terms of quality. So when we have projects, and these are good probing questions, if a project is in trouble, we can come in with our years of experience, having run projects, having turned projects around. We can do a quick assessment for them. We can do an audit, and then lay out a mitigation plan to get them back on track. Then our fourth dedicated service line or offering are the project management education services. So because we are a registered education provider, we can provide project management training on site. We can tie that training directly to the projects that are ongoing. We can also, for those organizations that have PMP professionals on staff, we can help them maintain, it's very similar to a CEU, a continuing education unit or continuing education credit. In the project management world, that's called a PDU, a professional development unit. So just some additional services that we can offer there through our education line. And sometimes by doing the education, we get the opportunity to come back and do some of those project audits and advisory services. So from left to right, the traditional standalone project manager that you're probably the most familiar with, and then our other three service lines, and that's really where our growth is. As we take a look at that $15 million number, we'd like to really continue the strong, dedicated project manager work that we have, but we'd also like to really grow in these three particular areas. Let's talk a little bit about how our methodology, so that you're comfortable with it. We follow the established mobilize, design, build, implement, and support. And you can see on the right-hand side of the screen the types of activities that as project managers we would be doing in those particular phases. So you can see creating that project project charter, getting the project plan installed and agreed upon and signed off, et cetera. So since we are so pressed for time today, I won't articulate each of these slides. I just wanted to present to you that we do have a very formalized methodology. It is based on PMBOK. It allows us to, again, be very closely tied with the Project Management Institute, and you can begin to see the kinds of activities that we do in each one of these particular phases. And it really goes hand in hand with standard development life cycles as well. So over into implementation support and optimize, and that's where we talk about project closing, those lessons learned, final documentation, and so forth. All right, so some common drivers then for the project management group consulting needs. Again, when projects, either in the beginning or middle or as they are moving towards go live, if there are unclear scope or poor scope management, a project can get in trouble with one of those three constraints. If the staff is not dedicated to those project management activities, it is a full-time opportunity to focus on just those tasks, so it does take a clear dedication. Typically, resource utilization and management, that would be our standalone project managers. Again, the unrealistic or overly optimistic project schedule, insufficient planning, or simply poor risk and mitigation. It's okay to have risk, but you need to have a plan to obviously keep it minimized. Our client target profile, again, would be any health system, hospital, or ambulatory facility, as you can see there, that is implementing an HIT solution, maybe has projects underway, has projects that are either at risk or they're fully staffed, or not fully staffed, excuse me, so they need additional support, or any organizations that are in need of establishing that project management office, or like I said previously, trying to mature the project management office that they already have. Some of our service line differentiators, again, we have the healthcare information services experience. We've kind of been there, done that, the colloquial have the T-shirt. We view project management as it is a career. We are dedicated to the art and science of being project managers. So we take that responsibility very seriously, and again go for and support and our credentialed resources, so that from an industry standpoint we are recognized as having put the time and study in to be a solid resource and have the credentials that are necessary. As you can see, we're working on developing some of our testimonials and our white papers. We just had a meeting earlier today on that, so we've got a little more work to do in terms of getting that available to you, but that please be assured that is certainly underway. And as I said, our other differentiator is really the fact that we can provide the PMI education. Again, what sets us apart, our breadth of our capabilities, the depth and breadth of our expertise, again, our PMBOK foundation, our proven methodology, and our solution orientation. So we really are about making sure that we are solving problems, not simply filling a single void. So in terms of qualifying some clients, and again, probably a refresher for you, just wanted to spend a few minutes here. But asking those kinds of questions around how are complex initiatives managed and how are they delivered on time? How are you achieving success? What are the stakeholders' perceptions, and are they different from the folks that are actually doing the delivery? Do you have those dedicated resources, and do you have a repeatable methodology which allows you to properly estimate and plan? So many projects get in trouble there because good record keeping was not done, and there's not a basis by which to actually plan the next project. So just some quick things that can be done now, making appointments with service line directors, CIOs, chief financial officers, asking those right questions about really uncovering that project management need, and really taking a look at rescuing those projects that may be a little bit off track, training their staff. And I'll just throw in one thing, and I apologize because I am trying to take advantage of the time that we have today. But we are putting together, and I'll just back up here just a minute, when we talk a little bit about some of our differentiators and some of the items that we're putting together to be of assistance to you. We're putting together not only the white papers and the testimonials, but also the battle cards. And a battle card is going to be a laminated card, if you will. It will have a grid, and it will allow you, while you are interacting, to really have some responses already at the ready for the recognized objections. So the common objections that we're hearing, we're going to go ahead and be able to prepare for you, rapid responses to that, whether it's around pricing or, availability and those kinds of things. So our go-to-market strategies, we're working on very diligently, and a battle card is going to be one of those deliverables back to you that we hope will be valuable, and certainly welcome your input and as we refine it and continue to move it forward. All right, so in summary then, on the PMG, the Project Management Group, every client is an opportunity. Project management services are dedicated standalone, our Project Jumpstart, Project Rescue, and our education services. And it's really around our differentiators, our people, their credentials, the depth and breadth of the art and science of project management is what we're dedicated to, our proven methodology, and our ability to be scalable. My contact information, as you can see here, I'm the only one in the book that is spelled this way, so you can, if you just remember the LUMOS, that'll find me. There is my phone number. I would welcome the opportunity to sit down and brainstorm with you on other collateral or materials that would help. Talk to you with any of your clients. Brainstorm, with you on how we can continue to sustain and grow the business. So let me do this. I'm going to do a quick pause. Are there, around the PMG group, are there any questions that I could address? All right. Did everybody find the mute button that wanted to potentially ask a question, or I'm going to go ahead and go on here?
I'm good.
Oh, everybody's good to go. All right, thank you. I appreciate that. So let me go ahead and move on then to the other solution line, and that is the Enterprise Health Record, or EHR solution line. And I'm going to talk in global here, and then I'll split it back out because Erin Hutchinson and I share the Enterprise solution line. She has everything that is Epic. I have everything that is non-Epic. So you can see specifically I have the McKesson, the Siemens, Cerner, et cetera, related to enterprise implementation. So when we look at our composite team, we have about 24 consultants. We're billing upwards of around $352,000 a year. Again, you can see the list of clients that we have there on the right-hand side of the screen. Again, completely compliments of you and your efforts. The enterprise is really looks at it from a layer, from the bottom up. And so what we've tried to do is talk about the enterprise solution practice or solution line is the batter, if you will, if we can use that analogy. The batter is really the vendor practices. And you can see exactly the technical and application vendor experts really reside there. The next layer, or the frosting, is the project management group. And we just spent a few minutes talking about what that group is focused and dedicated on. And then the top, the candles, if you will, would be the enterprise EHR consultants who are leading, if you will, kind of lighting the way in terms of the overall strategic and the overall tactical. So it really is a combination of all three of those very specific functions that come together to highlight what the enterprise group is about and focused on. You can see our business from 2013. We hope to come in around $8 million. You can see the pipeline. This snapshot is a little bit old. The pipeline is not quite that robust from this particular snapshot, but hopefully we can now that everybody's back in school and summer vacations are over, hopefully we can really begin to drive some of those that are close to closure. So let's just talk briefly then about the EMR adoption model, or MRAM, as some of you may have heard it. On the left-hand side, from the bottom up, you see the various stages. And this is dedicated, or comes from HIMSS, their dedicated particular model here. And so when you hear individuals talk about stage 4 of MRAM, or the EMR adoption model, that means they have implemented CPOE and some clinical decision support, or CDS. What that says is this. 38.3% of the hospitals have reached that stage 4. So that means there is still a great deal of work available to be done, and a very sizable market to do that. You can see the anticipated spending capping almost $6 billion by the time we get to 2015. You can see 43% of the folks that HIMSS has surveyed report that they have completed an EHR implementation, but that certainly means an awful lot still have that implementation underway, and that's clearly the sweet spot. You read a lot of the literature. It also talks about, of the 43% that have completed, there is a very high volume of those organizations that are looking to change, to switch, and that is exactly the sweet spot of the EHR enterprise group. So let's talk a little bit, and I apologize for the animation here. I'm just going to go ahead and fly through that. But the enterprise group is program-level leadership, right? We provide targeted solutions that encompass the entire implementation. We are experts in the vendor's products. And as we're saying, we're not really the PMO, right? That PMO is that middle layer for us, but it does play a part, right? So all three of those layers have to come together in order for the enterprise implementation and strategic services to be as effective as need be. As you can see here, some facts. EHR implementations are typically very long and sometimes can be quite arduous, and so they can be challenging and painful. People don't like to feel pain and anxiety, and people would prefer things to be easy. So what that does is that brings us to the conclusion where we can provide the value. I heard someone speaking? Guess not. Where we can provide the biggest value is to help eliminate the challenge and the pain, help eliminate that anxiety through proper planning and methodology and rigor and discipline. So that's certainly why EHR solutions are so important to get positioned properly. Again, just some facts here, and we can talk through this, and again, Sherry's going to post all this on the SharePoint. Trusted advisor, our proven methodology. We have done the big picture. We see the big picture. We have that vendor expertise. We can certainly tap into the practices if we need to. We know the how. We have done this on repeated occasions, and we are truly providing that overall solution. So some common drivers for why individual organizations purchase enterprise consulting needs. The next couple of slides are going to show this in very factual nature, but the lack of effectiveness, again, at vendors at guiding through implementation. The majority of organizations are saying they are not getting good guidance on how to implement the vendor's product from the vendor. So that's a place where objectively we can come in and help remediate that. We're finding that providers are having to assume the bulk of responsibility to make the EMR, or the electronic medical record, usable. So even once it gets installed, it is still not highly usable at go live. Another driver, reducing the years it's taking providers to get to high availability and high usability and poor end-user adoption, and we certainly heard that consistently over the years. What this graph shows you are, by vendor, the breakdown of whether organizations feel their vendor was good at providing them guidance through the implementation. So you can see Epic and Cerner get fairly high marks for that. Then as you move to the far right there, the Allscripts, the Siemens, the Meditech, and the McKesson are simply in the okay to the not good range in terms of providing the guidance that the organization felt they needed in order to make good decisions. So clearly we've got an opening here. We've got an opportunity with very specific vendors to help give them the guidance that they are seeking. This chart shows us the gray area on the top of each of the lines shows the percentage of providers that say they had good usability at go live. Again, Epic gets excellent scores in that. And the orange bar, the second bar in each of the categories, shows how long it was taking them to get to a high usability. And you can see on average 9.1 years, 6.3 years. That's an awfully long time to have a project open and not have the kind of results that are needed. Again, our methodology on the enterprise side, absolutely consistent. Assess and plan, the design, the build, the implement, and the optimize. You can see the various service offerings correlated or associated with each of those particular steps. And I'm just going to go to the next slide here, and I want to point out a few things. This is still the process and the tools on the left-hand side. It's still our methodology across the top. But hopefully you're able to see some things that are in green underneath tools. Things like performance metric tracker in the bottom left-hand column. Moving 2 columns over in green, you should see the testing toolkit, the testing dashboard. Those are in green because those are very specific Stratana tools that we've already embedded into the implementation methodology. Back on the project management group for a second, we are still in the process of embedding Stratana into that methodology. So that's going to be another differentiator for us as we have that tool to embed. But here on the EHR side, it's already put in. If you've not had a chance to see Stratana yet, I encourage you to do so. It really is a very compelling tool that makes quite a difference. Just some buyer personas for you, maybe a refresher, but in terms of as you're meeting with the various leaders and information officers, medical information officers, et cetera, just a recap of really what they are focused on and how their filter, if you will, how things from their chair are foremost for them. What we've done here is we've outlined through the methodology across the top, so the assessment plan all the way through the optimize, and then the various personas across the left-hand side there running vertically. You can see specific drivers or specific points of view that you may want to address depending upon where they are in that methodology. So hopefully this grid is something. Hopefully the humor, it makes it a little more palatable. But also hopefully it will give you some brainstorming ideas in terms of really taking a look at the methodology and the individual persona where they are within that methodology, and what may be that opening question or that driving need that they may have. In terms of the next couple of slides. What we've done is we've really talked about the various stages here. So you can see pre-implementation planning, and we tried to present you with a 3-panel approach. And these will be consistent of what is happening in that particular phase, what the client is feeling in that particular phase, and what our solutions are related back to those concerns. So you can see we've laid this out in terms of pre-planning. When we're actually in the assess and plan phase, again, what is happening to the far left, what is the client feeling, and how do our solutions tie back to address any particular concerns or overcome any objections, and how we can again get that positioned in from a solution and a holistic standpoint. Design, again, same 3 panels. Our build, our same 3 panels. Implement and optimize, again, so left to right, and our solutions. And I know that there's a lot of text here, and again, happy to sit with you and walk through it and give you an opportunity to digest it and ask detailed questions. What we try to do here is give you a 1-pager recap. So again, try to put it into 3 particular verticals. So our enterprise program planning and assessment, you can see some very specific offerings that we have there. Our advisory services, that would be an interim project director as an example, our executive services, our risk and quality oversight, and then our specific life cycle over on the far right-hand side, specific life cycle-based solutions. So our rapid design process, we can do implementation audits, we can come in and simply do an assessment as whether or not from an objective standpoint they are ready to go live and what the calculated risk of going live would be given some of the other things we just talked about in terms of high usability and end-user adoption, and really being able to take a look and assess those things for the organization to help them make that final go live or perhaps delay decision. Some keys to success here in terms of gathering data. What stage of the implementation might they be in? Obviously, the MRAM model is a good door opener as well, and I've got a few other door openers here in a couple of slides. So you can see, you know, where are they in terms of their governance model? Where are they in terms of their issue and risk management? You can see a couple of questions. Are they prepared to spend that average 4.6 years to get 71% usability? Are they confident that their end-user approach will get them past a standard 46% rate for end-user adoption, which is not good, right? 46% is certainly not good at go live. So just some key questions here, and I'm sure you have several of your own. Just wanted to brainstorm with you a little bit. The next slide here, in terms of door openers, we did some digging into HIMSS and have found out really by getting them to write some custom reports for us, the ability of gleaning out who is buying, who's planning on switching, as I spoke of earlier. And this chart can really be used a couple of ways. For those in the second column there that are first-time adopters for the various areas, so let's say, you know, most of the first-time adopters are around business intelligence. Well, that's certainly going to be a great opportunity for us to sit down and talk about, you've not done this before, let us help guide and direct you. Versus some of the other system replacement where those higher percentages are CPOE. A lot of organizations now are looking to replace their CPOE system. It is not meeting their particular needs. So again, we've been there, we've done that, and we can help guide them through that. So whether the area of patient portal or physician documentation, whether it's a first-time adopter or a system replacement, we certainly have a response to be able to provide the guidance. In terms of how Erin and I support you, again, we support you by being the expert advisor to your current and prospective clients. We help with proposal development. We can help with industry research and expertise, some best practices. We can help you with sales calls, whether that is over the phone, links, if that's in person. We're certainly at the ready to do that. Our primary duties, as you can see there, delivery oversight, managing the resources that are within the enterprise solution line. Again, staffing those engagements. And as Sarah Shillington likes to say, being that general manager, which means we should be able to address the issues that come our way and get you decisions quickly. Some additional sales support information, as I mentioned before, we do have the GTM, or the go-to-marketing initiative. We have many more materials, collaterals. We have the battle cards coming out for this as well. We have the case studies, the testimonials, some online sources, the HIMSS Analytics, Class Research, the Gartner, LinkedIn, a lot of great groups out there associated with LinkedIn. His Talk has been around a long time. It's certainly a nice place for more casual type information. And of course, Erin and I can help you with some very specific questions or documentation that you might need. As I said, Erin Hutchinson would be your contact for the EPIC opportunities, and I would be your contact for the enterprise, Cerner, McKesson, Siemens, all of the non-EPIC. All right, so let me call a quick timeout here and see what questions, comments, or concerns the group may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Margaret?
Hey, Margaret, it's Sarah. Can you hear me?
Hey, Sarah.
Hi. Great job. Hey, if I'm an AE or an AVP or something, what are some of the things that I should be doing when I know my customer is looking at flipping to a different EHR system? What would I do? What questions do I ask? I know you talked about the battle card, but there are a lot of customers out there that are flipping from one vendor to another. And I'm just trying to see how we can generate more leads, and I think that's where our lead pool is in that, flip market.
Right. I think the first place is to really understand why, to get to expectations of what is driving the organization. Is it a cost decision? Is it a couple of those areas I spoke of, Sarah, earlier about? Is it end user adoption? Is it lack of functionality? Because only then can we really begin to craft the right solution, right? So I think it's about really understanding why they are looking at the decision, or how they actually, or maybe they've already made the decision and how they got there, so that there are realistic expectations going through the potential next implementation. So it could very well be that through that dialogue, and this is where individuals like myself and Aaron hopefully can be of great service to the AEs, is really around, well, if it is around end user adoption, if it's really around functionality, maybe a complete swap out is not necessary. Maybe it can be remediated. If it's around stakeholder expectations and C-level suite expectations, if it's around cost, then obviously those are some different decisions as well. But I think the first step for me is really around understanding what is driving that decision, how they are getting to that decision, and then being able to respond.
Okay, great. And if we have a C-suite relationship and or a coach on those accounts, whether you're an AE or an AVP, those would be great ones to try to posture an opportunity to have a conversation, because those are some big wins for us, and that's kind of what's missing this year in our numbers. Is I think historically both companies had a lot more bigger, large deals. So my point in bringing this up is here's a great chance when you've got good relationships with customers and they're thinking about flipping or they are flipping, to involve other folks in the conversation so that we can begin to posture a large enterprise deal that pulls in implementations or includes kind of the whole kit caboodle, and we can listen and scale it down as needed. But great opportunity in the market out there for those types of things.
Agreed. Thank you for the question, Sarah. Are there other questions?
Okay, I think that might be it then.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks a lot.